So I worked at the Obama White House in the Office of Public Engagement, and prior to that worked on the Obama campaign. And my job was, how do you figure out a way to reach millions of young people and inspire them to take action? And we did that in a variety of different ways, but probably the most effective use was through storytelling, was through art, was through film, was through music, was through comedy. And a lot of my job on the campaign and then at the Obama White House was working with storytellers, so writers, producers, celebrities, comedians, on a range of issues. So issues like equal pay or minimum wage or healthcare. And Funny or Die actually ended up being a company that we work with quite a bit, both officially and unofficially, because they just have a long history of doing this type of content. And Funny or Die, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's a company started by Will Ferrell, the legendary comedian, and his partner Adam McKay. And they loved the era, and they met during Saturday Night Live. And this idea of political comedy that's topical can reach millions of people. And we at the White House, we were figuring out ways, or trying to figure out ways, where we can break through the partisan divide. So not just speak to people that are going to the Obama White House website or watching Meet the Press, or people who are, engaged with these political issues already. We wanted to reach an entire demographic that wasn't paying attention. Right. And so Funny or Die became this incredible place where we produced breakthrough content and breakthrough campaigns that reach millions of people.
And I think you hit on a really important topic here, is how do we have this conversation with our younger generation who are not having these type of conversations? And for us at the National Sikh Campaign, we have not had that communication with this audience before. So oftentimes we do projects and we feel like we're preaching to the choir. And I think this is an amazing breakthrough opportunity for our organization to educate a group of people that we've never been in front of. So we're so excited to be working with you guys on this. So speaking of just that younger audience that Funny or Die reaches, can you tell us a little bit more about who that audience is and what the average reach of a Funny or Die video is?
Yeah, so again, I've been at Funny or Die for over 3 years, and we've done about 35 to 40 campaigns with pretty much every organization under the sun. So working with the DNC, working with candidates, PACs, nonprofits, organizations like American Heart Association, organizations like Stand Up to Cancer. And the major reason why is because Funny or Die as an organization reaches millions of people. 80% of their audience is 18 to 34. And they're the #1 comedy brand on the internet. So they have over something like 50 million, I believe, 50 or 60 million followers on social media. So on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on all these social media platforms where, that's where young people are, right? That's the one thing we learned at the White House was you sort of have to meet them where they are. You can't just, do something and hope that they seek it out. You have to really be engaging with and having a conversation on these platforms. That really is, to be honest, that's the way that you reach young people. It's not on traditional television. So, for us, it really comes down to not just getting in front of young people, but it's creating content that they want to share. And that's really what separates, I think, the content that we produce while we were at the White House, or either at Funny or Die or now at Franchisement. We're producing content that's not just in the front of folks, but that touches and shapes and creates an incentive or creates passion for them to share it. And comedy, in a crazy way, you would not think that it's something that politicians or policymakers want to use. But year after year, 7 out of 10 of the most popular videos on the internet are comedy videos. And the reason why is because you're much more likely to share a funny video with a friend or a family member, right? Like something that makes you smile, something that makes you laugh. You're just much more willing to share that. Right. And that's the content that goes viral. That's the content that you know, it may start out as just a little video that you see on, you know, someone just taking it on an iPhone, and meanwhile, a day later has 15 million views because it makes someone laugh and it makes them want to share it with their loved one. And so when we're thinking about the National Sikh Campaign, we're thinking about the opportunity here to not just educate, but to inspire and to start a conversation. We felt like comedy was the way to really break through.
Can you share similar projects that you've worked on specifically that have had big goals like this, and what the success was and the results of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most famous one at the White House was we did a video with Zach Galifianakis, which I'm sure people remember. It was with President Obama and Zach Galifianakis. Between Two Ferns is the iconic video series that Funny or Die produces. And that came out at a time where healthcare enrollment was really make or break. It was that first year of enrollment. We all remember the website didn't work for a number of months. Which was a little scary for everyone at the White House, but it also was scary for a lot of people really counting on that first year of enrollment, those numbers to be high, because we really did need for that risk pool to be pretty balanced. We needed a lot of healthy young people to be signing up and enrolling in healthcare. So creating a video that not just people saw, like it was great if people watched it.
Right.
What was more important to us is that people were going to watch it and then actually go to healthcare.gov. And that's exactly what the video did, because one, video's online, right? So people are watching it and they can just click right through, which makes it much easier for conversions. And two, because of Funny or Die's audience, which I had mentioned before, 80% of which are young and many of whom were uninsured and many of whom are healthy, it was the exact demographic that we needed to reach. And so the traffic to healthcare.gov actually skyrocketed. It was a 40% increase in traffic to healthcare.gov once we launched the video. So it was the exact type of engagement that we were looking for. And then since then, we've done a number of campaigns, as I mentioned, but I think the one that we're most proud of is with an actual former intern at the White House in our office. Her name is Amanda Wen, and Amanda is this incredible human. At the time, she was this aspiring astronaut. She'd worked at NASA and was interning in our office. And she was sadly a survivor of sexual assault at Harvard. And it was this moment in her life where she really found inspiration and found courage to not just address her own personal tragedy, but she turned that into writing a bill in Massachusetts, and then writing a bill federally to address the civil rights for sexual assault survivors, which, depending on the state that you live in, there's so many gaps in our justice system as it relates to civil rights for sexual assault survivors. And she had a bill on the Hill here in DC. This was 2016, but it was an election year and it wasn't going anywhere. And she reached out to me and asked me for help. And of course, I mean, I jumped in and was, you know, Amanda's just this incredible hero, and we wanted to do everything we could to not only tell her story, but to galvanize the American public, because the only way that bill was going to get passed was if there was a groundswell of young people that really pushed for that bill to get passed.
Right.
And it happened. We launched the video. It got millions of views. It got over 100,000 signatures for a petition. And it passed. It was the only unanimous bill that passed in Congress that year that President Obama signed. And so, again, it's one of these things where it's the best of both worlds, where, you know, we could have obviously relied on traditional tactics to get that bill passed, which is, you know, press releases or protests. But we actually use comedy, of all things, to talk about an issue that I think everyone would agree, it's sexual assault's not a funny issue.
Right.
It's a very serious issue, but we use comedy to break through the sort of traditional news media, and we used comedians and cultural press to galvanize the public.
Yeah, that's an incredible story, and I think there's a lot of parallels with our Sikh faith, right? And as we talk about religious equality, there's probably not a lot of funny things about religious equality, and I think it's going to be really interesting and fun to see the way that this skit and this video turns out, and how we are able to do some education at the same time, make people laugh and smile and share the message that they learned about it. And so last question for you, why do you think it's so important for our community to be working with Funny or Die on this video?
It's such a huge moment right now. The conversation around acceptance and the conversation around community. We live in a time where hate is being fomented every day on Twitter, from some of our most powerful individuals in our country.
Right.
And I think that what we're finding, and Gerwin has talked a lot about the success that the National Sikh Campaign has had in just educating, but just being yourselves and just being able to tell your story on your terms, and how hungry the country is to hear that story and to share that story. And so I just think it's such a huge opportunity, not just for the Sikh community, but I think for all Americans. You know, I'm a dad. I have 2 small kids, and you know, we are so blessed that they go to a school that is so diverse, and there's so many different communities and nationalities, and they're learning every day because they're exposed to so many different children, and so many different faiths, and so many different races and languages, and we're so blessed. But the reality is the vast majority of Americans don't have that privilege of being in a diverse community. And there is a danger, right? There's a danger where, you know, children, particularly young people growing up who aren't exposed to the Sikh community, they're getting fed a lot of nonsense right now. They're getting fed a lot of fear and anger and hate and division. And I think that this video is exactly what America needs. I mean, you know, I'm obviously biased because, you know, I do think that the work that we put into this, and that Gerwin and you, Anjleen, by the way, who put into this, it's so, so important, because this is a video that I think I want my children to see, and I want my friends to see, and young people to see, because I think the only way that we fight hate and we fight division is with love and laughter. Yeah. And being able to really be honest and open. And I think that that's what this campaign is really about. And so I'm so honored and so excited to be a part of this. And we're so excited to shoot this. I know that the shoot date is right around the corner.
Yes, yes.
And so excited to get this out in the world.